Good morning. So today we completed, I think so we covered legislature, judiciary, executive. After executive we also covered emergency, national emergency, president rule. Maybe we can expect, because Manipur president rule is there, we can expect president rule. Article 356, Article 365. So 352, 360. So how many times financial emergency is introduced? 0 times. So national emergency because of internal disturbance. National emergency because of internal disturbances. Only one time, 1975. 1975 time is national emergency because of internal disturbance. After that only they changed it to armed rebellion. Again we covered. Overall national emergency is introduced how many times? 3 times. So after 1975, how many times national emergency is introduced? Till now, no. After 1975. Then we covered conditions, propagation, revocation, all that. So before that we also covered overall. See, first try to give high yielding areas only. In preparation also, in revision also, try to focus more on first high yielding areas only. Parliament chapter, fundamental rights, judiciary, executive, comparative, president and governor, all that. So today's class probably will be covering amendment procedures, important amendments. Then we'll be covering constitutional bodies, non-constitutional bodies which are in the news. Apart from that, we'll be covering historical background. Historical background deliberately I kept at the end, because after reading entire polity subject, then you have to go to historical background, so that you will understand overall. So if you look at what is historical background, or why should we go for historical background? At the end you have to cover historical background. Okay. So at the end try to cover historical background. The reason being, once you study everything, then you will get to know the consolidation. Actually, why should we study historical background at the end, sir? So you will be able to understand the meaning of the term. Diarchy, dual government, legislature, procedure, provinces, all that. Anyway, starting of the book only it will be there. But while studying, you have to study at the end. The reason, if you know everything, judiciary you know, fundamental rights you know, parliament you know, legislature you know, amendment procedure you know, link will understand very easily. So when you are preparing and revising also, try to keep like that. Today we'll try to cover some of the amendments and important amendments procedure. So Indian Constitution is both rigid and flexible. Is it correct? Why are you saying, sir, what is rigid and flexible? Why are you saying Indian Constitution is both rigid and flexible? Okay, what is meaning of written constitution? What is meaning of unwritten constitution? Both are documented, but single codification is not done. Written means both are written only, document is there, but single document is codified, that is called as written. Single document is not codified, then that is called as unwritten. So what is rigid constitution? What is flexible constitution? Difficult to change it, then that is called as rigid. Easy to change it, that is called as flexible. So I said something. Indian Constitution is both rigid as well as flexible. What does it mean? In some cases, it is easy to amend the constitution. In some cases, it is very difficult to amend the constitution. So India copied or India borrowed the concept of amendment procedure from which country? South Africa. Which means the system that we are following of amendment procedure, we borrowed, India borrowed and adapted from which country? South Africa. So Article 368, Preamble, Article 1 to 4, Union and Territory, we said, Article 4, any change that is brought in Article 2 and Article 3 should not be considered as amendment under Article 368. Remember? So if you look at what is mentioned in this Article 368, sir, if you look at Two amendments. Can Parliament amend any part of the Constitution? So USA is extremely rigid constitution. Why USA is called as extremely rigid, sir? Very difficult to bring the changes. Britain is called, come in. Britain is called as very flexible constitution. Easy to change. But India is combination of both. So rigid as well as flexible. In some provisions, it's okay, very easy. Simple majority you can bring. In some cases, special majority. In some cases, special majority plus consent of half of the states, ratification. That's the reason why constitutional amendment procedure in India clearly is defined in Article 368, and two cases already we know. Parliament can amend any part of the Constitution. Parliament can amend any part of the Constitution. Keshavarna Bharati case, as long as it does not alter doctrine of basic structure. Correct? So what does it mean? Supreme Court is saying there is nothing wrong in amending the Constitution, but you cannot alter the basic. In fact, somebody filed a case in court also. In 42nd Amendment, we added 2 words. 3 words actually. Socialist to secular integrity also. Someone questioned, there is no need to continue socialist and secular in our preamble. The Supreme Court interpreted that there is nothing wrong in having the word socialist and secular. Anyway, we are secular only. See, even if the word secular is not mentioned in preamble, still we are secular only. How can we say that India is secular? Right to religion, fundamental right, Article 25 to 28. So state will equally support all the religions, or state does not discriminate against any religion. State officially does not have any religion. State officially does not persecute any religion. Already we are secular only. But why the word secular and socialist were added, sir? In the context and the time in which we wanted to know, mainly unification of the nation, also to create national integration. What do you mean of national integration, dear? What do you mean of national integration? So irrespective of your caste, color, gender, region, religion, all of us should feel that we belong to one nation. Correct? So Supreme Court said that there is no need to delete the words socialist and secular. Meaning, don't think that unless we added the word secular, India was not a secular. It was a secular. But explicitly we added in 42nd Amendment to mention ourselves as secular. So I said something. Article 368, Indian Constitution can be amended both in rigid way as well as flexible way. Which of the following statements are correct? Constitutional Amendment Bill can be introduced in either houses of the Parliament. Look at the word. Constitutional Amendment Bill can be introduced in either of the houses in Parliament. Meaning, Constitutional Amendment Bill can be introduced either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Is it correct? Yes. Second statement. The Constitutional Amendment Bill can be introduced by minister only. Look at the word. Constitutional Amendment Bill can be introduced by minister only. Come on. No, dear. It need not be introduced by minister only. It can be introduced by private member also. Because look at the word. It is not a government bill we are talking about. We are talking about Constitutional Amendment Bill. So first clarification. Constitutional Amendment Bill can be introduced in either houses, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Just now we said it can be introduced by minister or private member. Now let me slightly modify the wording. State legislature can also introduce Constitutional Amendment Bill. State legislature can also introduce Constitutional Amendment Bill. Think logically and tell. State legislature cannot amend the constitution because India is Union of the states. State does not have constitution, dear. Together we have union has constitution. Did you understand the meaning of three statements? After that, what will happen, sir? Again, no prior permission is required for introducing constitutional amendment bill from president. So we said in case of money bill, prior permission is required. So no prior permission is required from president to introduce constitutional amendment bill. It can be introduced by a minister also, and it can be introduced by private member also. Okay, this is clear. Why state legislature cannot introduce, sir? Because only for state constitution is not there, dear. Overall, for the entire nation only we have constitution. So all achievements are clear. So then one more. So in case of Article 368, for a bill to be passed, what is the majority that is required? Special majority. So what is special majority in Article 368, sir? In Article 368, for a constitutional amendment bill to be passed, what do we need? Special majority. What is special majority? 2 by 3rd members of present and voting, along with 50% of the total membership. Correct? So 2 by 3rd members of voting and present, along with that 50% of the membership is called as special majority for Article 368 bill to be passed. So which means if you introduce a bill under Article 368, for the bill to be passed, either of the houses, look at the word, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. After that, if one house passes the bill with a special majority, then the bill will go to the other house. Correct only? Or they have to pass separately? Both the houses must pass the bill it separately. Look at the word. Both the houses must pass the bill it separately. What does it mean? Lok Sabha will pass separately with 2 by 3rd majority plus 50% membership. Rajya Sabha also will pass separately with 2 by 3rd members plus 50% membership. So look at the wording. Both the houses should pass the bill with special majority separately. Now in this case only, remember a concept called joint sitting. So what is joint sitting, sir? So in case a bill is introduced in one of the houses, there is a discrepancies or there is differences between one house and the other house. Who can call for the joint sitting? President. Who is the presiding officer? Lok Sabha Speaker. So in case of joint sitting, they try to sit together and try to resolve the differences. But no joint sitting is available for constitutional amendment bill. What does it mean? A bill is passed in one house, a bill is not passed in the other house. What happens to bill? What happens to bill? It will be lapsed. Bill is passed in one house, bill is not passed in the other house with the required majority. What happens to bill? Bill will lapse. There is no concept of joint sitting in case of constitutional amendment bill. Now one doubt. Is it compulsory that President should give assent to constitutional amendment bill? Is it compulsory that President should give assent to constitutional amendment bill? Earlier no, but if you look at 24th Constitutional Amendment Act, so 24th CAA, 24th Constitutional Amendment Act made it obligatory on behalf of the President. What is the meaning of obligatory? Compulsorily he has to give. So President has to give assent to constitutional amendment bill, meaning he cannot say that no, I don't accept this bill. So when sir 24th Constitutional Amendment Act, so 24th Constitutional Amendment Act makes it obligatory on behalf of the President to give assent to constitutional amendment bill. Like we said, in case of money bill cannot be written, correct, for reconsideration. So constitutional amendment bill, just now we said, President has to compulsorily give assent to constitutional amendment bill. This is called as 24th CAA. Now, once we know the procedure, so we supposed to know overall. Anyway, what is simple majority? What is simple majority? Majority of the members present and voting. Under Article 368, what is special majority? Just now we covered. Now, actually, if you look at constitutional amendment procedure, consists of 3 categories. Sir, what are these 3 categories, sir? 1, you can pass with simple majority. Other one, special majority plus consent of half of the states, ratification. And whichever is not mentioned in 1, whichever is not mentioned in through, are mentioned in 2. That's what book generally says. Correct only? For some, simple majority is okay. For some, special majority plus ratification of half of the states is required, and they accept the rule remaining the procedure. Just to understand, we want to change Telangana state name into Bangaru Telangana. So we want to change name of the Telangana state into Bangaru Telangana. Which article, dear? 2 or 3? Article 3, very good. So simple majority or special majority? Simple majority. So formation of new state from the existing state. Same, simple majority only. So change in the name of a particular town. Rules of the procedure, salaries and allowance, quorum in parliament, citizenship, official language. So all this just simple majority only. So then special majority plus consent of half of the states is required. What do you mean of special majority plus consent of half of the states are required? Federal structure is disturbed. Look at the word. When federal structure is disturbed, what is meaning of federal structure? Distribution of powers between center and state. If that is disturbed, then we need not only special majority plus ratification of half of the states. Why? Who is trying to make law on whom? Parliament is trying to make a law on the subject which is involved with state. That's the reason why not only special majority but also ratification of half of the states. Example to understand what type of articles comes under this. So if you look at Supreme Court and High Court jurisdiction. Supreme Court, High Court jurisdiction. Election of President. Legislative powers distributed. Suppose example of GST Council. Apart from that, representation of states in Parliament. So if you look at 101 CAA, best example to understand this. What is 101 CAA? Yes. Why should we need ratification of states in case of GST? What did 101 CAA actually implemented? What happened after 101 CAA? Correct. Indirect taxes collecting power of the state is taken by GST Council. Before GST Council 101 CAA, each individual state had the autonomy to decide how much of indirect tax they want to collect. On a sofa of 2 lakhs, Telangana was collecting 18% VAT, Karnataka was collecting 24% VAT, Andhra Pradesh was collecting 32% VAT. Which means different states used to collect different VAT rates, indirect taxes. But what happened in GST Council, Article 279A? All these powers are taken from the state. Autonomy of the states is disturbed, and in practice, single state alone cannot decide. GST Council will together decide. Meaning, distribution of powers between the center and the state. Union list, state list, concurrent list. Parliament is trying to make a law on a subject, indirect taxes which were collected by state. That's the reason why for 101 CAA, not only special majority is required, but also consent of half of the states. I told you why states are not willing to give assent to this 122 constitutional amendment bill, sir. They said, we want explicit clause in the bill guaranteeing compensation to achieve revenue neutral state. You understand what is revenue neutral state? States are saying, it's okay, we will implement GST, but if we implement GST, what if we are getting less money than what we are getting earlier? Whatever difference is there, who is supposed to pay compensate? Center supposed to pay compensation to the states. See, earlier Telangana government was getting every year 1 lakh crore. After implementing GST, suppose we are getting 1,20,000 crore. Good only. We are getting more than the previous. But what if Telangana state is getting 60,000 crore? But earlier we used to get 1 lakh crore. The difference who is supposed to pay? Center. So unless center explicitly mentioned GST compensation clause in 122 Constitutional Amendment Bill, states were not willing to ratify. They said, Namakan le dura. Explicit compensation for 5 years, 2017 to 2022. Explicitly it is mentioned in GST compensation, meaning in 122 Constitutional Amendment Bill, unless they mentioned this, states were not willing to ratify. So this is third category, Article 368, special majority plus ratification of half of the states. Now one doubt. Sir, bill is passed with special majority, but ratification of states is not done. What happens to the bill? Obviously it will lapse. Obviously bill will lapse. Can it be implemented? Can it be implemented? Can center by force implement the law on the state? Procedure itself says only one part is special majority. In the procedure itself is second part is there. What is the second part? Ratification of the half of the states. Also part of procedure only. If procedure only half part is completed, half bill is not implemented. No. That's the reason why many times before 101 CAA, similar to GST bill, attempts were made. But what happened, sir? States were not willing to ratify. That's the reason why before itself many times simplification of indirect taxes, center tried to attempt, but states were not willing to ratify. That's the reason why it could not become an act. That's why, look at the bill. Bill is 122 Constitutional Amendment Bill, but act is 101 CAA. Correct? So, Article 368, some simple majority, some special majority plus half of the states, some only special majority. So, example for special majority. We want to add some right to fundamental right. We want to add some right to fundamental right. Special majority, Constitutional Amendment Bill. And we want to add some provisions in DPSPs. Special majority. So, no need to remember all of them, just to understand. For some simple majority, for some special majority plus ratification of half of the states, remaining is special majority. This is the procedure mentioned in Article 368. Now, you will understand why did we write Indian Constitution is both rigid as flexible. Flexible. With simple majority, simply you can alter. Rigid, especially just now we covered, special majority plus consent of half of the states. That's why Indian Constitution is called as both rigid as well as flexible. Extreme rigidity is visible in USA, flexibility is available in Britain, but we have taken the mixture of both. Now, apart from that, in UPSC they are not asking match the following amendments and all, but at least 100 to 106 remember, because all recent only. And sometimes if examiner has any, again, personal problems, family problems, he'll ask constitutional amendments and match the following also. But just to understand, first Constitutional Amendment Act, the 2023 previous prelims question. That's the reason why I am covering this. Important CAA only we are covering. What is this first CAA? What is mentioned? Who are the first Prime Minister? Jawaharlal Nehru uncle. This uncle, Chacha uncle, added 9th schedule. What is 9th schedule, sir? Yes, immunity from judicial review. Especially to implement issues related to Land. So in which year we're talking about? 1951. To protect the land reforms at that time over the laws included from judicial review, the first Prime Minister at that time, they added this first CAA where 9th schedule is immune from judicial review. And at that time they want to make laws related to land. That's the reason why it was made explicitly that if something is kept in 9th schedule, judiciary should not interfere. It should be immune from judicial review. This is about first amendment. 2023 prelim they asked this question. And again, 9th CAA. What is this 9th CAA? So remember Article 2 and Article 3. What is the difference between Article 2 and Article 3? Very good. Admission of a territory from external to India, or we are giving our territory to someone. Yes? So what happened in 9th CAA, sir? There is a territory called Berubari in West Bengal. We gave it to Pakistan. So case of Berubari, any idea? Indo-Pak agreement was signed in 1958 with Pakistan, and Indian territory of Berubari Union in West Bengal was given to East Pakistan at that time. So Bangladesh came later. Earlier it was called as East Pakistan. So in 9th CAA, India handed over this territory from West Bengal of Indian Union to Pakistan because of Indo-Pak agreement of 1958. So we gave our Berubari territory to the Pakistan because of Indo-Pak agreement in 1958. That's the reason why. So again, if you remember, sedition, which means cessation, we are trying to provide this to Pakistan. Why, sir? Because of the mutual agreement between Indo-Pak. Anyway, East Pakistan at that time, we handed over this to them. That was about 9th CAA. Then 24th CAA, just now we covered. So if you look at, can President, 24th CAA, can President written constitutional amendment bill, or is it compulsory for President to give assent to constitutional amendment bill? Yes, that's why the word is called as obligatory. It is obligatory for President to give assent to constitutional amendment bill. He cannot say no. That was mentioned on 24th CAA. So after that, 39th CAA. What is this 39th CAA, sir? So if you look at 39th CAA Constitutional Amendment Act, now we said, what type of election system is followed in president elections in India? Yes, look at the time frame. We are talking about 1975 to 1977 time. So what does it mean? Emergency time? Emergency time? So at the time emergency was introduced based on internal disturbance only. 1975 internal disturbance only. So look at the time frame. So if you have seen emergency movie, you will understand. Election of the president, vice president, prime minister, speaker of Lok Sabha is beyond the scrutiny of the Indian courts. Look at the wording. Election of president, vice president, prime minister, the speaker of the Lok Sabha is beyond the scrutiny of the Indian courts. What does it mean? Court should not declare, or court should not enter into election procedure of all this. What does it mean? She wanted to prove that who are you to talk about my elections? That was the intention in 1975. So if you look at, during the time of emergency, 39 CAA was introduced deliberately where election of president, vice president, prime minister, speaker of Lok Sabha are not, look at the word, are not part of scrutiny of the Indian courts. Which means court should not check whether this is genuine or not, correct or not. Not scrutiny of the courts. Meaning, court should not say that whether it is valid or not. With respect to election of, because she was the prime minister at that time. That's the reason why she said, okay, come on, let's pass this. Let's not court decide whether the election is genuine or not. That is the reason why she wanted to control by force. See, power does not corrupt the people, but fear of losing power corrupt the people. ఆ కుర్చీ కోసమే ఆ కుర్చీ మడతపెట్టి whatever. So, which means most of the people, politicians are fighting for the sake of the power only. They're so obsessed with the power and they're doing all this nonsense. Of course, later, several amendments were introduced in 42nd CAA. That's why which is called as mini constitution. What is mentioned in 42nd, sir? Already we know. Which words are added? 1976, which words are added? Socialist, secular and integrity is added. Fundamental duties also are added under Part 4A. Part 4, 51A. Part 4A, 51A to 51K or 51I. 10 were there. 10 were there earlier. 11 recently got added. Fundamental duties were recommended to which committee? Swarna Singh committee. Again, directive principles also got added. 39, 39A, 43A, 48A also. What is 39? Healthy development of children. 39A, free legal aid. 43A, participation of workers in management of industries. So 48A, protection of forest. So these also got added in 42nd amendment. So 39, 39A. So it's okay, no need to remember all of them, but just to know why it is called as mini constitution. So many changes are added. That's the reason why it's called as mini constitution. Again, look at the time frame in which we are talking about. After emergency or during emergency? Okay. So it established DPSPs are superior to fundamental rights. No. So if you look at it, delayed delimitation of constituencies till 2001 census. Yes. 42 CAA limited Supreme Court's review powers. Amendments became immune to challenges. What does it mean? They do not want the court to examine the orders taken given by the executive, meaning real executive at that time. In simple, 42nd amendment tried to bring so many changes of earlier. Again, emergency provision. Localized emergency also possible. I mean, president rule can be imposed, also possible. So 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act added socialist, secular, integrity in the preamble, added fundamental duties, new DPSPs are added. That's the reason why simply that is called as mini constitution. Then look at 43rd CAA. So if you look at the word, we are still toward the end of emergency only, not completely. It restored the original position of the High Court, and High Court can look into both civil and other disputes as original jurisdiction. Again same. Which High Court gave judgment that Indira Gandhi's election is invalid? Allahabad High Court. So to counter that, what order they got it? High Court do not have the jurisdiction over to look into these matters. That's what the order that they got. So toward the end of it, we are trying to rectify it. Again, 44th CAA. 44th CAA is important for us. So why look at the time frame in which we are talking about? 1978, meaning national emergency is almost over. So after that, we are talking about 44th CAA. So in 44th CAA, if you look at some of the important changes that they brought in, the term internal disturbance was replaced with armed rebellion. Before this, national emergency can be introduced in case of internal disturbance, but internal disturbance word is replaced by armed rebellion. Meaning now which word is there? Armed rebellion is there. Earlier which word was there? Internal disturbance. Okay? So how many times national emergency is introduced based on armed rebellion or internal disturbance? Only one time. Overall, how many times national emergency was introduced? 3 times. Again, look at the word. It says, President can declare national emergency. Already we covered yesterday emergency provisions. President can declare national emergency only when there is written recommendation. Look at the word. Written recommendation. Written recommendation from whom? Of the cabinet. Written recommendation of Council of Ministers. Of course, on behalf of Council of Ministers, cabinet. Sir, why sir this? Because before, whatever PM said, that is assumed as the order of the Council of the Ministers. So Indira is India, India is Indira. Indira is India, India is Indira. That was the theme. From there, no, not only Indira should be considered, Council of Ministers decision also should be considered. What does it mean? Just because PM is saying President should not impose national emergency unless there is written recommendation which comes from cabinet. Which means collectively they have to take a decision. Unilaterally PM alone cannot dictate the terms. That's the meaning of the term. Apart from that, right to property is delisted from the list of the fundamental rights and made as legal right. So one of the major right to property is removed from the list of the fundamental rights and it is made as legal right. So already we know, to introduce and to implement land reforms, land is a said subject. So one side, our constitution says you can have as much property as you want because right to property is a fundamental right. Other side, Land Ceiling Act says a person should not have not more than certain acres of land. So there is a conflict of interest. That's the reason why to implement land reforms properly, we made right to property as a legal right, not as a fundamental right. West Bengal and Kerala were the states in which right to property was removed as a fundamental right and land reforms are partially successful. Not fully successful, partially successful. What is this? Naxalism, sir. Naxalbari is the name of the village in West Bengal where they wanted to implement land reform. What is land reform, sir? Take the land from the rich people and redistribute that to the landless people. So in the process, what happened? Several landlords were not willing to give their land. So local people with political masses took the control and they killed many landlords. It became violent and they forcibly they have taken the land and distributed to landless people. This happened in Naxalbari village in West Bengal. That's later called as Naxalism, Naxalite movement. So who are Naxalites? Virata Parva cinema chusara? మాకు అన్యాయం జరిగినప్పుడు ఎవరు వచ్చారు సార్? అన్నలు వచ్చారు, అక్కలు వచ్చారు. సో టుడేస్ UPSC aspirants are tomorrow's Naxalites. No, IAS, IPS officers. So who are this Naxalism? What is their ideology? Unequal distribution of land is the reason for inequality in the society. Take the land from the rich people and give it to the poor people. But something happened in Telangana, Pochampalli, Bhudanodhyamam, Acharya Vinoba Bhave. So, voluntary redistribution of land by the rich to the landless people. Voluntary redistribution. Correct? So, after clearing civil services, what will you do with your class notes and all? Sell it in the market. Correct only? No. Redistribution. So, redistribution by force is one of the examples for Naxalism. Voluntary redistribution is Bhudanodhyamam. Gramadhanodhyamam, Bhudanodhyamam means voluntary redistribution. So in that context, it was right to property was deleted as fundamental right. Again, fundamental rights of Article 20 and 21 cannot be suspended in any type of emergencies. Can we say that? Article 20, 21 can never be suspended in case of any type of emergency. True? Come on dear, yesterday we covered. Yes. Fundamental rights guaranteed under Article 20 and Article 21 cannot be suspended during national emergency. Whatever emergency it is, war, aggression, armed rebellion. But what about Article 19? It can be suspended only when external, not in case of internal. In case of internal, what does it mean? Armed rebellion. So, suspension of fundamental rights, but explicitly 44 CA 1978 talks about you cannot suspend Article 2021 in any national emergency. Meaning, what is 21 talks about? Right to life and personal liberty. What does Article 20, correct only? 21. Okay, what does Article 20 talks about? No ex post facto law. Correct only? No double jeopardy, no self-incrimination. Article 20 only? Yes. 21, right to life and personal liberty. Meaning, whatever is the basis of national emergency, you cannot suspend these fundamental rights. That is what is mentioned in 44 CAA, and many times questions are asked from 44 CAA. Why, sir? After emergency, they were introduced. That's the reason why written recommendation, armed rebellion, just now we talked about right to property is removed, and also Article 20 and 21 cannot be suspended. Then what is the minimum age for participating in the elections? Participating in the elections. To contest in the elections. To contest in the elections. 21 years. So earlier, what was the minimum age for to participate in the elections? 21. So earlier, the age was 21 years. It is reduced to 18 years. In which constitutional amendment? So if you look at 61, Constitutional Amendment Act, and so sometimes, why, sir? What is the reason, sir? They thought 18 years is the maturity age. That's the reason why people will be spoiled by that time, anytime. No, not like that. So in many of the global constituencies, see, decision making power, it requires some maturity. That's the reason why for contesting elections, minimum age is 21. But for using the voting right, they reduced it from 21 years to 18 years. So 61st CA, this is also previous prelims questions, 1989. Which Constitutional Amendment Act reduced the voting minimum required age from 21 to 18 years? Apart from that, 73rd CAA, 74th CAA already we know. Detail also we covered. So what is 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act? Constitutional status to Panchayat Raj institutions. Correct only? So how many subjects are transferred? 29 subjects are transferred. Which schedule is added? 11 schedule is added. Then we covered 74th CAA. What is 74th CAA? Urban local bodies. So in urban local bodies, how many subjects are transferred? 18 subjects are transferred. Which schedule is added? 12 schedule is added. It's about 73rd, 74th. Detail also we covered. Local self-governance, all that. Now if you look at one of the criticism on 73rd, 74th amendment is that only subjects are transferred but resources are not transferred. So we are telling them, come on, you have to do all this, but we are not giving funds to them. Like parents are telling, baga chadukovali, first rank ravali, all this. Kani double matram pampincham. No, resources have to be provided. Of course they are providing us. So 73rd, 74th amendments are criticized that we are giving responsibilities to them, but we are not providing sufficient resources to them. But yesterday I told one word, octroi. Remember the word? So what is the meaning of octroi? Octroi is a tax collected by the local body. Octroi is a tax collected by the local bodies when goods are transiting through the jurisdiction. That's why that is called as octroi. Again we said property tax. Property tax is collected by local bodies only. So you have to. And you have to take permission also for construction of all this. So approval, electricity, water charges, service charges, and so on. Then 86th CA, Constitutional Amendment Act. Oh, 86th Constitutional Amendment Act is asked many times in the exam because of right to education. What is Article 21A, dear? So what is Article 21A? So if you look at 86th Constitutional Amendment Act says, what is right to education? What is mentioned in Article 21A? Correct. Already we covered. Not professional education, not higher education, only primary education is guaranteed as fundamental right. What is professional education, sir? Chartered accountant, MBBS, correct only? Lawyers, professional education. Is it mentioned? By 14 years, how can you do all this? By 14 years, how can you do all this? Correct? So what is guaranteed in right to education, Article 21A? Primary education. Children in the age group of 6 to 14 years have to go to school and they have to study. Tuniga, endaka, parigettave. Which means all of them have to go to school, they have to become unemployed and they have to come for coaching. No, that is not the intention. But education should not be privilege of the only rich class. Education should not be confined only to rich people. Education should not be available because, look at the word. Education will create a life chance for a person, for a family to move up, which is called as social mobility. See, if you get selected for civil services, not only you will celebrate, who will celebrate? All your friends will celebrate. Friends కాకపోయినా చెప్తారు ఆడు మావాడే, మా రూమ్లోకి వచ్చి అప్పుడప్పుడు టీ తాగి వెళ్ళిపోయాడు. So relatives also will claim social mobility. Not only you, your family, your community, your village, your social mobility will happen. So education is the most powerful weapon to change the world, also to destroy the world. But good quality education will create life chances for a person. So quality education should be available not only for rich people but also for all. That is the purpose of right to education. So take our own example. Why did our parents send us to English medium school? ఒకటి 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 రెండు 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 మూడు 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 నారాయణ శ్రీ చైతన్య వాట్ ఎవర్ ఆల్. వై? దే ఆర్ థింకింగ్ దట్ ద కాస్ట్లీ ద ఫీ ద మోర్ ద క్వాలిటీ ఆఫ్ ద ఎడ్యుకేషన్. Unfortunately no. How many alphabets will be there in Narayana school? 26 only. How many alphabets will be in government school? It won't change. But the quality of the education and teaching methods. In fact, qualified teachers are there in government schools only. Because they completed BEd, they completed professional training, obviously. But it's a feeling that is created that education, the higher the fee, the higher the quality. And in fact, unfortunately, in Hyderabad, parents are writing entrance exam to get the admission for the children. Parents are writing entrance exam so that kids will get the admission. So many international schools. Maybe again too costly. In fact, UPSC coaching fee is less compared to LKG and UKG and nursery. So leave it. But that is the quality of the nature. But new fundamental duty is added. What is new fundamental duty? 21A is fundamental right for whom? Children. Same thing, fundamental duty for the whom? Parents. So what is the duty of the parents? Send the children to school after completing homework. And who is supposed to complete the homework? Parents. So it's fundamental duty for the parents. It is fundamental right for children. Many times question is asked, what is guaranteed in right to education? At least 25% of the admission should be given for weaker sections in educational institutions. Is it followed in practice? Who are the people who are running all private colleges and private institutions? Politicians only. That's why they don't want to develop government school. That's why they don't want to develop government hospitals. So that is the reason why. So conflict of interest is there, but 86CA is many times question is asked. New fundamental duty called 51A small k for parents is added through 86CA. For children, 21A, right to education. Now, right to internet, is it a fundamental right? Right to internet, is it a fundamental right? Yes, interpreted under Article 19 also, interpreted under Article 21 also. Right to internet is a fundamental right. Why, sir? To study, what is required? Internet is required. If any doubt comes, how do we check the doubt? Google. Correct only? How to make a bomb in the kitchen. So, we are searching in the internet. So, during internet shutdown, court perceived that right to internet is also a fundamental right. Under Article 19, freedom of speech and expression. Through social media you can express. But if it is leading to hate speech and creating communal tensions, then internet shutdown is imposed. So right to internet is also a fundamental right, interpreted under right to life and personal liberty as well as right to education. Can you live without phone? Can you live without internet? Can you stay completely free after 2-3 days? No phone at all. Parents will directly come to hostel because they're afraid we are there or not. See, reasonable restriction is there. Internet is not bad, but for what purpose it is used that depend upon us. This is code perception. See, not everybody is using internet for communal hatredness only. There are some good purpose also. Somebody met with an accident, urgently they need blood. Somebody is posting that in social media. For good purpose only they are using. True? And UPSC aspirant is posting a question in social media. And no, so many people are replying the answers. So social media is not bad. Internet is not bad. For the purpose for which it is used, it depends upon the user. So this is code perception. That's why it said right to internet is a fundamental right. Article 21A is fundamental right. Right to education. So if you want to study, you need internet. So internet is a fundamental right. Yes. So UPSC exam centers also they have to provide internet in the exam hall. No, not in the exam hall. Normally for studies, colleges, universities, right to education includes internet also. That's the meaning of right to internet. Then 89th CAA. What is this 89th CAA? Earlier, for SCs and STs together there was only one single constitutional body. What was that? NC, SC and ST. What is NCSC? National Commission for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes. But 89 CAA 2003, they bifurcated. What did they bifurcate? Into two. National Commission for Scheduled Caste is separate. National Commission for Scheduled Tribe is separated. So earlier, single constitutional body was there for one that got bifurcated. So as a result, they added 2 articles to the constitution. They said National Commission for Scheduled Caste. So which article? Article 338. Now addition is added 338 subclause A in which NCST is created. So which is a constitutional body? NCSC or NCST or both? Both are constitutional bodies only. Earlier for together only one was there. Now we separated them. For SC separated, ST separated. We added this. That's why 338A got added. Now anyway, we're going to study something later. NCBC also constitutional body only. National Commission for Backward Classes also constitutional body only. Originally it was not constitutional body, but later we made it. This is 89 CAA. Then 97th CAA. So yesterday we covered cooperative societies. Remember? 97 CAA Constitutional Amendment Act in 2011 provided constitutional status and protection to cooperative societies. So constitutional status and protection to cooperative societies. Already we covered what is a cooperative society, what is the purpose of establishment of cooperative societies. Actually they started with no profit, no loss basis, and they want to help the members who are part of the overall, which means group of people come together for mutual benefit. That's the purpose of cooperative societies. Again, 100 to 106, try to remember because many times question is asked. And before that, 99th also. What is 99th CAA? National Judicial Appointment Commission was declared as invalid by the court. So what is NJAC, sir? Why was it was created? Formation of National Judicial Appointment Commission to select the judges. So of course, what is the status? It was struck down as unconstitutional. NJAC is considered as unconstitutional. But NJAC was created to select the judges, and the court itself felt that the procedure that is mentioned in NJAC, National Judicial Appointment Commission, is unconstitutional. And finally, right now how judges of High Court and Supreme Court are appointed? Through collegium of judges. Of course, they send the names to President and President will give assent. So 100 to 106, try to remember. Maybe they're asking regularly repeated questions because recent amendments, that's the reason why. So 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106. Anything else is added recently? No? So what is 100 Constitutional Amendment Act century? Easy to remember. Related to land boundary agreement between India and Bangladesh where exchange of enclaves happened. Where exchange of enclaves happened between India and Bangladesh, which is called as land boundary agreement between India and Bangladesh. Where some enclaves India gave to Bangladesh, some enclaves Bangladesh gave to India. Exchange of enclaves. 101 already we covered. What is 101 CAA? GST. GST, implementation of GST. So if you look at 102 and 103. So look at 102. I said something. NCBC, National Commission for Backward Classes, earlier was not given constitutional status, but through 102 CAA, NCBC, National Commission for Backward Classes, is given constitutional status under 338B. Suppose a question comes, trap in the prelims. What was the status of National Commission for Backward Classes in 2017? Statutory body, constitutional body. At that time it was statutory body because when 102 CAA happened? 2018. So after 2018 if the question comes, what is the status of NCBC? What is the answer? Constitutional body. See, previous prelims question, still in some of the books answer is given as statutory body because that question was asked before 2018. Means when that question was asked by UPSC, at that time what was the status of NCBC? Statutory body. The same question is asked after 2018, the answer is constitutional body because we added this 338B for NCBC. Then what is 103rd CAA, sir? EWS reservations. So how much is reservation for EWS? What is the qualification to get EWS reservations? Annual income of the family should be less than 8 lakhs. And in designated municipalities and gram panchayat, you should not have not more than certain amount of the land or site, something like that. So EWS, 5 acres only, agriculture land, I think so. So again, in 103rd CWA, Indira Sahani judgment case, remember that reservation should not be more than 50%. That's why you have to add exemption also, and we added that extra 10% also. And to implement EWS, 15 subclause 6, 16 subclause 6 got added. So already we know what does Article 15 talks about, what does Article 16 talks about. Yes, no discrimination in public educational institutions. 15, no discrimination in public employment. So 15(6) clause and 16 subclause 6, what do they talk about? Reservation for economically weaker sections among general category. Correct only? So non-OBC, SC, ST, meaning in general category, those who are economically backward, for them EWS will be available. Economically weaker sections. One question is asked in prelims. Constitutionally reservations are valid. Constitutionally reservations are valid if they are announced based on class. Constitutionally reservations are valid if they are announced based on class. Answer is this only. Economically weaker section. What does it mean? It's a backward class. Correct only? Among whom? General category. Reservations declared on religion and region are not constitutionally valid. Look at the word. Reservations declared based on religion and region are not valid constitutionally. Many times Supreme Court gave judgments. Maratha reservation. Maratha reservation. Yes. So what does it mean? Article 15, Article 16 says, for socially, educationally, economically backward classes. For socially, educationally, economically backward classes. Affirmative action can be taken by government. And 104 CAA, what is 104 CAA? It extended reservation for SCs and STs in Lok Sabha and state assemblies, but it did not extend nomination of 2 Anglo-Indians in Lok Sabha. Already we covered. Earlier maximum strength of Lok Sabha, we used to say 552. But now we are saying only 550. Why, sir? It did not extend nomination of 2 Anglo-Indian communities to Lok Sabha. Who was supposed to nominate? President used to nominate. But we did not extend this in 104 CA. But what did we extend? Reservation for SCs and STs in Lok Sabha and state assemblies. That is extended. Is reservation for SCs and STs available in Rajya Sabha? No. Reservation for SCs and STs in Lok Sabha. Is reservation for SCs and STs available in state assemblies? Yes. So extension. Actually what is happening? In the constitution for 10 years, we are providing this provision. For every 10 years before the expiry, we kept on extending. So it's supposed to be expired in 2020. The reservation, previous reservation, which was provided for 10 years, 2010, supposed to be expired when? 2020. So in 2020, we introduced 104 Constitutional Amendment Act. So this will continue till when? 2030. So before the expiry of this reservation again in 2030, for every 10 years, we kept on introducing constitutional amendment and we kept on extending it. But while extending, in the last amendment, 2 Anglo-Indian nomination also was continued till 2020. But in 2020, when we amended, this continuation is not part, only SS reservation got continued. That's the reason why. See, some of the books have written 104 Constitutional Amendment Act deleted. Not deleted, it did not continue. It did not continue. Meaning previous amendment, they introduced continuation for next 10 years, nomination of Anglo-Indian community. But this, they did not allow it to continue. That's the reason why, as of now, only continuation of reservation for SCs and STs, both in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now dear, only in Lok Sabha. Both assemblies as well as councils. No, only in legislative assemblies. And 105 CAA already we know. What is 105 CAA, sir? Who will select the list of the backward people, socially, educationally backward classes? Who will select? So what is NCBC? National Commission for Backward Classes. So which constitutional amendment? 102. Just now we talked about. What is 105, sir? Exempted the state governments from consulting NCBC with regard to preparation and maintenance of list of socially educationally backward classes for their own purposes. What is the meaning of this? States can identify who are educationally backward, socially backward classes. List state can prepare. So each state can prepare its own list of socially and educationally backward classes. Why? State to implement the welfare policies also, schemes also, affirmative actions also. It is not compulsory for the state to consult NCBC, meaning each state can follow its own criteria in deciding socially, educationally backward classes. For example, to understand, who will decide BPL, APL for public distribution system? What is BPL? Below poverty line. What is APL? Above poverty line. Who will decide this? Each state. So who will identify the criteria? Each state. So that's the reason why 105th says state is exempted from consulting NCBC. It's not compulsory. State can decide based on their parameter who are socially, educationally backward classes, because each state is supposed to identify the beneficiaries according to their own criteria. Again, 106th. What is 106th CAA? So 106 CAA says 1/3 of all seats are reserved for women in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. So is 1/3 sufficient for women? More than 1/3 should be given, sir. So first of all, why should we do reservation for women? Because they are women. Yes. Indian patriarchal society is not accepting a girl as equally that of the boy. So girls are considered as liabilities, boys are considered as assets. But unfortunately, both are non-performing assets. Correct? So if you look at, but the attitude toward the girl child and the woman representation in decision making is very, very low. That's the reason why, if you allow reservation for women, see, don't think empowerment of women is never again the empowerment of men. Empowerment of women is never again the empowerment of men. Wrong way to understand. Look at the word. Men is part of women. Female. Look at the word. Look at the word. So they both are inseparable. I mean, empowerment of women lead to empowerment of the entire family. So don't always look at women empowerment as opposite of men. No, never. Because oppression and depression of women for so many generations is the reason why. So, Mailu, job vachedaka, if parents are telling marriage, all this, what do you have to tell? No, you have to show them. You have to show them nice movie, Gunjan Saxena. చూసారా సినిమా అమ్మాయిలు చూడాలి గుంజన్ సక్సేనా కార్గిల్ గర్ల్ జాహ్నవి కపూర్ సో a first girl to be recruited as pilot so in Kargil war. So society, how society treats a girl when a girl or a woman wants to pursue her dream, what are the obstacles created by the society, but you should not stop for it. Yes. So reservations for women, from when it would be implemented? From when it would be implemented? So, which means by the time if attempts are over, what women have to do? Not like that. So, before itself we should get selected. And if you all you want, you can contest in the elections also. But see, already reservations are there in local body elections. So reservations are there already in local body elections. But it is Sarpanch Patis who are controlling, not Sarpanch. It's a proxy power. That is what is happening. So these are important constitutional amendment acts. So regular repeated question only. Then one more expected theme for prelims is classical language and official language. So because 4 languages got classical language status recently, addition happened. So official language and classical language, this we can expect. So what are 2 official languages in India? Official language is Hindi only. Hindi follows Devanagari script, and because of colonial legacy, Government of India Act 1935, English also is continued. So if you look at Article 343 says, Hindi is the official language of Union. English also is continued for official purpose by the Parliament. So again, Parliamentary Committee recommend the use of Hindi and English. So, but many of them says, Official Language Act 1963 says that official documents are authoritative. What's the meaning of official documents are authoritative? See, bill is printed in Hindi also, bill is printed in English also. Officially the document of the bill is there, that is printed in Hindi also, that is printed in English also, or if bill is only in English, it requires Hindi translation also. That's the reason why Rajya Sabha officers, Rajbhasha officers, which means the bill draft is in English, but that will be translated into Hindi also. Why, sir? Our official language is Hindi. Again, Article 351, promoting Hindi to represent India's cultural heritage. So, but is Hindi India's national language? No, no national language officially right now. 3 language formula. So going on, some issue is going on. Apart from that, 8th schedule contains 22 official languages. 8th schedule constitutes around 22 official languages. Again, if you look at, state may adopt 1 or more language for official purposes. State may adopt 1 or more language for official purpose. Means state can adopt its own official language again, correct? So So what are the official languages Telangana state? Urdu, Telugu only, Telangana Telugu. So Telugu only, correct? State can adopt its own official language for its own purposes. Again, if you look at what is classical language, Shastriya Bhasha, which means a language which has rich historical legacy, unique script, and promotion of this language will protect cultural heritage, then that languages can be identified as classical languages. So which are the first classical languages to be identified? Tamil 2004, Sanskrit 2005, Telugu 2008, Kannada 2008, Malayalam 2013, Odia 2014. So first Tamil, Nalla Ponnu. Sanskrit, Aham Sanskritam Patami. Sanskrit we studied somewhere in 10th standard and intermediate, 98 out of 100. Yes, paper leak also. So, Sanskrit, then Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Odia. These are classical languages. Recently in 2024, that's the reason why question is important. Recently in 2024, so which languages are approved as classical languages? Marathi, Bengali, Assamese, Pali and Prakrit. So in 2024, Marathi, Bengali, Assamese, Pali and Prakrit, they were added as classical language status. So which are recently added is expected question for the prelims. So earlier, what were there? Tamil, Sanskrit, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Odia. Apart from that, just now we said Marathi, Bengali, Assami, Pali and Prakrit. So question can be, which of the following is not a classical language as of now? So these are official language and classical language. So with that we completed official language and classical language. Then one more regular repeated prelims theme is actually constitutional bodies and non-constitutional bodies. So next we will cover constitutional bodies. What are the benefits of getting classical language status? Funds will be provided. In the universities they are going to establish research, and also they will get more funds from the center towards promotion of the language. Telugu Mahasabalu they can organize. So Sangam literature, we'll study somewhere in history, Sangam literature. So and the promotion of the language. Actually, any language if you learn, it will be helpful in improving the skill. So they say that if there is a national language, it promotes national integration. That's what they're trying to say. But Tamil Nadu government introduced in the budget Tamil symbol of rupee, not the Indian rupee symbol, and controversy is going on. Anyway, they are from different planet, so they get crazy ideas. But leave it. Again, language identity is there, but language identity should not be a barrier for nationalism. In India, there are so many Telugu people, so many Kannada people, so many Malayalis, but very few Indians. What are you saying, sir? So your language identity is okay, but not at the cost of the questioning of the national identity. True? Yes? So that's the reason why during training itself, so many languages training is provided for civil servants. Why? Suppose public is scolding you, you should understand what they are scolding. I mean, when a public come to a person with a complaint in the local language, so that's the reason why you should get selected for your home state. If not, whichever state you get selected, try to learn the language. Why? At least minimum basic manageable language. Minimum basic manageable language. Because it connects the hearts, heart to heart connection. So language, obviously, that's the reason why language training is provided. So whichever state you are getting posted after completing training from Mussoorie, respective state human resource development training will provide. MHRD will provide training in Telugu also for non-Telugu people who are got selected for civil services. Because obviously it helps in bridging the gap. And what is constitutional body? What is non-constitutional body? Something which is mentioned explicitly in the constitution is called as constitutional body. What is statutory body? Something created through a law is called as statutory body. Neither constitutional nor statutory. Not mentioned in constitution also. Not created through any law also. So UPSC, because obviously you are preparing for UPSC. So UPSC is constitutional body or statutory body? Constitutional body only? Yes. So which article? 315 through 323. 315 to 323 are related to UPSC. So already we know the story. Earlier, Federal Public Service Commission, later Union Public Service Commission, right now State Public Service Commission, open recruitment of civil services, all that if you look at. Now, it consists of chairman and members. What is the term of the UPSC chairman and the members? 6 years or 65 years? 6 or 65 years. Whichever is later or whichever is earlier? Whichever is earlier. 6 or 65, whichever is earlier. So apart from that, what is the qualification to become UPSC member? No prescribed qualification in the constitution. No prescribed qualification. However, President should feel that they are from experts in their domain field. So at least they should have field experience of 10 years and more. That's all. Can a professor become UPSC member and UPSC chairman? Yes. Yes. So can a corporate company CEO can become UPSC member? Yes. There is no prescribed qualification like that, but in their mostly in education field and recruitment related field and competitive exam field, if they have 10 years field experience, they are eligible to become the member of UPSC. But Constitution does not prescribe any specified qualifications to become the member of UPSC. Is member eligible for employment? Again, see, a person was a member of UPSC. Is he eligible to become the member of? Is he eligible for member again for UPSC? Not for member, higher than the member. What is higher than the member? Chairman of UPSC or chairman of State Public Service Commission. Look at the word. Earlier a person was UPSC member. Now he is eligible for UPSC chairman or any State Public Service Commission chairman. Clear? Again, how can we remove them? How can we remove them? Only President can remove them. Of course, on the basis of insolvency, office of profit, infirmity of mind and misbehavior. So Supreme Court advice supposed to be taken, and Supreme Court advice is binding in nature for removal. So who will consult whom, sir? President. Advisory jurisdiction, remember? So President will take the advice of Supreme Court. But Supreme Court advice is binding regarding the removal. Supreme Court says no, President says no. Supreme Court says yes, President says yes. Now again, State Public Service Commission, only difference we need to remember, not 6 or 65. State Public Service Commission, 6 or 62. 6 or 62. So 6 years or 62, whichever is earlier. Again, who can remove State Public Service Commission chairman? Governor or President? Governor or President? President only? President only? Yes. Again, Election Commission. Election Commission is constitutional body. So which article? 324. So already we covered briefly this. Central Election Commission conducts elections for assemblies, Lok Sabha as well as local bodies. No, only for parliament elections and assembly elections. So Election Commission is a multi-member body. Why it's called as multi-member body, sir? One CEC and two ECs together are there. Again, Model Code of Conduct given by Election Commission is binding and legally enforceable. No, it is just moral obligation on the political parties. So Model Code of Conduct says you should not give money, you should not give liquor, you should not give mixie, you should not give grinder, something like that they give. But people are understanding in different way. So Model Code of Conduct. Again, Article 324, Election Commission is a multi-member body. And what is the minimum or you can say maximum age. Who will appoint election commissioner, chief election commissioners? President only. Because president constitutional powers, we said most of the council appointments are made by president. So what is the term of the election commissioners? 6 or 65? No doubt. So who appoints chief election commissioner? President. Who appoints election commissioners? President. Now look at. Chief election commissioner and election commissioners are appointed by president. Yes. And conditions of them are determined by the president. Yes. So president will appoint chief election commissioner and election commissioners also. Chief election commissioner can be removed in the manner and the same on the ground of Supreme Court judge. Election commission can be removed by the president on the recommendation of chief election commissioner. Look at the word trap. Be careful. CEC. Chief election commissioner can be removed on the ground of judge of Supreme Court. However, election commissioner can be removed by the president on the recommendation of chief election commissioner. Did you understand the meaning? What does it mean? Not simply if any one of the election commissioners involved in whatever prescribed fraudulent activities, misbehavior, code of conduct, conflict of interest, then who can recommend? CEC can recommend to the president. But to remove the CEC, what we have to do? Procedure supposed to be followed, that of a judge. Again, elections related to splits and merger of recognized political parties is decided by president. Look at the word. Election disputes related to splits, mergers of the recognized political parties is decided by president. No. Eknath Shinde, party symbol. Who decided? Election Commission. Election Commission. So disputes related to elections, splits, mergers is decided by Election Commission. Again, still something. National party, state party, regional party. Correct? So national party symbols are exclusive to them. National parties symbols are exclusive to them. What is Congress party symbol? Right hand or left hand? Male hand or female hand? So what does it mean? We want to start our party, All India Nirujogal Party. All India Nirujogal Party, that is our party. Our party symbol is both hands. If you apply, election commission says, sorry sir, we cannot grant that symbol to you because hand is already exclusive symbol given to a party. వాళ్ళు ఒక చేతితో దోచుకున్నారు, కరెక్ట్? ఓన్లీ మనం రెండు చేతితో దోచుకోవాలి అంతే. సో దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ వాట్ ఈస్ బీజేపీ సింబల్? ఫ్లవర్. సో నాట్ ఫ్లవర్, ఫైర్, కరెక్ట్ ఓన్లీ. సో ఆల్ ఇండియా లవర్స్ పార్టీ, దే వాంట్ టు స్టార్ట్ దేర్ ఓన్ సింబల్. సో rose in the hand, that is our symbol, hand holding rose. So what election commission says, you have to get no objection. మీరు మాట్లాడాలా?
సార్ రోజు రోజుకి స్ట్రెంత్ తగ్గుతుంది, ఒక రోజు వచ్చిన వాళ్ళు నెక్స్ట్ డే రావట్లేదు. అదొకసారి మీ ఫ్రెండ్స్ ఎవరైనా ఉంటే చెప్పండి. మాకు ఒక లెక్క ఉండాలి కదా, ఎగ్జామ్ ఉంది, ఎంతమంది వస్తారు ఎంతమంది రావట్లేదు అనేసి. లేదు మాకు వీలు కాదు అంటే ఆన్లైన్లో అవైలబుల్గా చేస్తాము. మేము ఫ్యాకల్టీకి చాలా పే చేయాల్సి వస్తుంది, డైలీ ఎవరూ రావట్లేదు. అదొకసారి అనౌన్స్మెంట్ ఇవ్వమన్నారు. ఈరోజు ఎగ్జామ్ ఉంది, పాలిటీ 2:30 to 4:30, మ్యాక్సిమం అందరు రావడానికి ట్రై చేయండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
So two state parties in two different states can have same symbol? Two two state parties in two different states can have same symbol? Yes. What is the symbol of TDP? What is the symbol of Samajwadi Party? Also cycle only. That is Hero cycle, this is Honda cycle. No, both are cycle only. Why, sir? Conflict of interest is not there because they are contesting in different states. Now the reason why? So national parties have patent on, not patent, exclusive right on their symbols, but two state parties can have similar symbol. Again, what do you mean of losing deposits in the elections? Yes, at the time of nomination, they're supposed to deposit money to them. And if you don't get 1/6 of the total polled votes, not the total votes, 1/6 of the total polled votes, the deposit you deposited to the election commission will not be given. That's called as losing of deposit in the elections. It's like we don't get cut-off mark in the exam. So will UPSC give back our application fee? No, we'll ask deposit in the exam. I mean, so whatever application fee we pay to them, that will not be refunded. Similar to that only. Girls are lucky only, no need to pay. But deposit in the election meaning out of total polled votes, the candidate did not get not even 1/6 of the total polled votes. So if they get more than 1/6 of the total polled votes, the deposit would be refunded. Now the reason why that is called as losing deposit in the elections. Again, election commission, if you look at administrative advisory and quasi-judicial body, also if you look at some issues going on about Shiv Sena party, also broomstick, which was once upon a time allocated to other party, later Aam Aadmi party got it, and so on. So elections, if you look at first post the past system. What do you mean of first post the past system? Whoever gets one vote more than the other, they are called as winner. Single transferable representation vote system. Followed in presidential elections, remember? Yes. In India, in all the elections, we follow FPTP system. No. President elections and MLC elections, single transferable vote system is followed. Correct? Again, in elections, opinion poll, exit poll. Already we know opinion poll and exit poll also. Representation of People's Act. What if nota votes are more than the total votes, or nota votes are more in a constituency? Nothing will happen in India because nota is just opinion, it does not have right to recall in India. Which means even if nota votes are more, what is going to happen? Nothing is going to happen. Whoever in the order, they will only get. Because in India, nota does not have right to reject. It is only an opinion. Right to recall is not there in Indian elections. What is right to recall? Before the completion of the term, 5 years or 6 years or 7 years, so we have to recall. But right to recall is not available. Right to recall is not available. So again, so if you look at Election Commission will organize elections for states also sometimes. Central Election Commission will organize elections for states also sometimes. What does it mean? State Assembly elections, state MLC elections can be organized even by Central Election Commission also. In sometimes. Why in sometimes? Suppose president rule is in a state. Even then, Central Election Commission will not directly organize. It will supervise sometimes. But State Election Commission will organize. Central Election Commission directly will not organize, but it will supervise. What type of elections? Assembly elections? Obviously, Central Election Commission only is organizing. So, Lok Sabha elections? Central Election Commission only is organizing. But in some cases, in some parts, it can supervise. Again, once election notification is announced, the powers of the Council of the Ministers are not there. The powers of the Council of Ministers are transferred to Election Commission. Meaning executive decision can be taken by Election Commission. Now, apart from that, if you look at some dispute was going on regarding Eknath Shinde, party symbol, all that. So sometimes in UPSC they didn't ask, but in groups they're asking, match the following, party and their symbol. Not all the parties, national parties at least we supposed to know. So Congress party we know, BJP we know, CPI, CPIM, BSP, BSP is not a national party now. Elephant. All India Trinamool Congress, AITC. So something like that. But otherwise, no, not much. Just if you know Election Commission. Now, disputes relating to splits and merger of recognized political parties are operated by Election Commission only. So this is EC and Finance Commission. So which article is related to Finance Commission? Finance Commission is related to Article 280. So who constitutes Finance Commission? President. President constitutes Finance Commission. So what is the term of the Finance Commission? 5 years. 5 years. So at present, which Finance Commission is going on? 15th Finance Commission time frame is going on from 22 to 25. So when 16th Finance Commission recommendations would be implemented? Probably from 2026. So who is chairman of 14th Finance Commission? Y.V. Reddy. Who is chairman of 15th Finance Commission? N.K. Singh. N.K. Singh is the chairman of 15th Finance Commission. But one point to remember, 15th Finance Commission time frame is 20 to 25. However, because of the delay in the interim report due to COVID-19, implementation is continued till 25-26. So 15th Finance Commission chairman, 15th Finance Commission term is 22-25 only, but because of delay in the interim report of 15th Finance Commission due to COVID-19, implementation is being continued till 2026. What does it mean? 2026 March 31st, 15th Finance Commission recommendations would be implemented. The reason being, in the implementation, it got delayed. Now the reason why it is being implemented. Then 14th Finance Commission suggested how much vertical devolution? 42%. 15th Finance Commission suggested how much devolution? 41% of devolution. Now apart from that, Finance Commission recommendations are binding on the government. Advisory only. Then based on the recommendation of the Finance Commission, special category status can be given by the center. Now current affairs, Bihar is asking special category status. Andhra Pradesh is asking special category status. So what is special category status under Finance Commission? 5th Finance Commission under the chairman of Mahavir Tyagi first suggested that union government can think about giving special category status to a state. So 5th Finance Commission under the chairman of Mahavir Tyagi is the first to suggest special category status for the states. On what basis special category status should be given, sir? Godgill formula. So what is Godgill formula, sir? Godgill formula says, if a state has the following criteria or any of these criteria, most of the population is tribal population, or majority of the population is located in hilly areas, our state is located in international borders, state is located in strategic locations, state is economically backward, infrastructure backwardness is there, state has very low resources. So any of these criteria, if it is satisfied, tribal population, hilly areas, located on international borders, strategic areas, so low resources, economic infrastructure backwardness, then based on recommendation of the Finance Commission, center can think of giving special category status to a state. If special category status is given to a state in centrally sponsored scheme, 90% of the funds will be given by whom? Center to the state. Apart from that, when industries are being established in that state, exemptions are given from paying taxes. Apart from that, so preference will be given in allocation of All India financial institutions and All India educational institutions. Besides that, revenue deficit adjustment grant also will be given, and backward regions in each state will be identified. Backward region development grant will be given, which are non-lapsable in the nature. So these are benefits of special category status. So Assam, Nagaland, Jammu and Kashmir were the first to be given special category status. AP Bifurcation Act, in the Act itself, Telangana also was given special category status initially. Total how many are having special category status? 11 states. But 14th Finance Commission suggested special category status should be confined only to hilly states and northeastern states. 14th Finance Commission suggested special category status should be given to hilly states and northeastern states only. So in simple, does Andhra Pradesh have the qualifications to get special category status? Resources are backward. No, maybe resources. High revenue deficit is one of the criteria. That much you can say. But Andhra Pradesh is not definitely backward. So which means, ideally speaking, AP does not have the qualifications to get special category status. But again, both political parties have used this for vote bank politics only. Kendram medalu anchi pratyeka hoda తీసుకొస్తాం. Whatever. So all leave politics apart. But special category status can be expected question. Because Bihar is demanding. Why Bihar is demanding? NDA does not have absolute majority. So who is supporting? TDP and JDU. TDP and JDU. So కూటమి ప్రభుత్వం, మన మంచి ప్రభుత్వం, whatever ప్రభుత్వం, బాబు గ్యారంటీయా? బాబు గ్యారంటీయేనా? జాబ్ గ్యారంటీయా? సో జాబ్ రావాలంటే బాబు రావాలి. ఎవరు బాబు రావాలి? సో whatever. See, the meaning of the statement is that special category status is a discretionary power of the center. Discretionary power of the center. So they're using it as a vote bank politics. Unfortunate. But the ruling party does not have absolute majority. So there is a coalition support from TDP and Janata Dal United. That's the reason why they're not blackmailing the center. They're getting as many funds as possible. Chance దొరికినప్పుడే దోచుకోవాలి. Of course. So this is the idea. So but special category status should be really given for economically backward classes, economically backward states. It should not be used as vote bank politics. Because if you don't address imbalanced regional development, it leads to regionalism and separatism. So that's the reason why concept of special category status was first suggested by 5th Finance Commission. Assam, Nagaland, Jammu and Kashmir were the first to get special category status. Just later list out what all the states which are under special category status also. Because in current affairs it is there, we can expect a question. Then apart from that, if you look at GST Council. GST Council also constitutional body. Which article is related to GST Council? Article 279A. So again, who constitutes GST Council? President constitute GST Council. So President constitute GST Council. Who is the head of GST Council? Union Finance Minister. It also consists of Minister of State Finance. It also consists of CMs of the states or finance ministers of the state? Finance ministers, not the CM. GST Council. So if you look at center has how much voting power? 1/3. States have how much voting power? 2/3. Yesterday I told GST Council recommendations are not binding on government. Again, who will decide change in GST rates? GST Council only. So GST Council meetings will be organized and some updates are there. Current affairs. So one of the current affairs in decision taken by GST Council is on online games 28% GST will be imposed, both on game of luck and both game of skill. Online games are there. So some ad will come, rummy ad. ఇక్కడ నుంచి జాబ్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, గేమ్ ఆడుకుంటే చాలు, whatever. So all this, so many issues are going on right now. So GST Council decided that on online games 28% of GST will be collected, both on game of luck as well as game of skill. And GST Appellate Tribunal is established. What is GST Appellate Tribunal, sir? To resolve GST disputes, instead of directly going to High Court and Supreme Court, mid-level is created, that is called as GST Appellate Tribunal. GST Adjudicating Authority, GST Appellate Authority, GST Appellate Tribunal. GST Appellate Tribunal. later High Court, later Supreme Court. So first adjudicating authority means GST officer. Then GST appellate authority means higher officer. Third level is GST appellate tribunal. Next level is High Court, next level is Supreme Court. So initially GST appellate tribunal was not there. Now we are having GST appellate tribunal. Also I told Supreme Court judgment on coconut oil. Coconut oil is edible oil or cosmetics. If it is cosmetics 18% GST. If it is edible 5% GST. So apart from that, in GST council only, the decisions of the slabs 0, 3, 5, 12, 18, 28 are decided. Of course we said GST exempted good also we covered. So who organized GST council meeting? Obviously Union Finance Minister. Article 279A is related to GST council. Then there is something called COG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. C&AG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Is it constitutional body? Yes, sir. So, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, he is called as watchdog of public purse. But it will bark only after the theft is over. I mean, which article is related to CAG? 148 or 248? So COG, who will appoint COG? President. So what is the retirement age? 6 or 65 only? Apart from that, if you look at COG is called as good friend of Public Accounts Committee. What is Public Accounts Committee? Generally, leader from the opposition party will be chairman of Public Accounts Committee. So, Public Accounts Committee will try to discuss the report given by the COG in the Parliament to censure the government. So, that's the reason why COG is examining whether the government is spending the funds properly or not, either any misappropriation or not. Those reports are used by Public Accounts Committee. Previous prelims question. CAG report on execution of the projects by ministries are discussed by Public Accounts Committee in the Parliament. Yes, that's the reason why Public Accounts Committee's friend is CAG. CAG is criticizing the government, PAC is criticizing the government, friend is friend, enemy is enemy friend. That's the reason why COG is the friend of PAC, because PAC take the report of COG. Again, CAG ascertains or CAG certifies the net proceeds of tax to the government, meaning the income that is coming to the government, whether it is genuine or correctly used or not, who will certify? CAG. See, initially there was Accountant General and Auditor General, both are same, but later Accountant General is separate, Auditor General is separate. Accountant General maintains records. What is the difference between accounting and auditing? Just entering the record is called as accounting. Verifying whether they are correct or not is called as auditing. So CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So who will establish? Parliament will establish. Again, Article 149. Which of the following statements are correct? COG can be removed by the President on the same grounds of judges of Supreme Court. Yes. Again, 3 reports are provided by COG to the President: appropriation account, finance account and public undertakings. COG will submit report to President, appropriation account, finance account and public undertakings. Why, sir? See, in the budget we covered Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, public account. Ministries are withdrawing the funds from Consolidated Fund. How far they are spending that money properly or not? So we are verifying. Through whose report? COG report. So that's why COG is called as watchdog of the public purse. But COG report is given after the funds are wasted. Operation successful, but patient died already. So that's the reason why some of the countries they are following concurrent audit. What's the meaning of concurrent audit? Instead of waiting the financial year to be over and then give the report, for every 3 months continuously keep checking whether funds are correct or not. That's called as concurrent audit. This is called as CAG. One of the previous prelims question. COG reports on execution of the projects or the programs by ministries are discussed by PAC. What is PAC? Public Accounts Committee. Then NCSC, already we covered. NCSC is National Commission for Scheduled Caste. So NCST, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. Constitutional bodies only. So again, if you look at some change is there, the reason why you suppose now. What is the term of chairman of NCSC? What is the term of the chairman of NCSC? 3 years. What is the term of the chairman of NCST? 3 years. But what about the age limit? Any age limit there? 64 or 65, something like that? Or 62? Sir, why sir? What is the reason for NCSC and NCST only 3 or 5? Or why only 3 years? What is the reason? Say at that time they felt that the person who is heading the NCSC, the person who is heading NCST should be from the respective field and social exclusion. That's the reason why they kept 3 years only the time frame. But already we know, originally there was only one organization called NCSC and NCST. But later they got separated, NCSC separate, NCST separate, and they provide annual report to the president. What all measures they have taken, all that. Then NCBC, what is the status of NCBC? National Commission for Backward Classes. Also is constitutional body. 338B we said. National Commission for Backward Classes. So originally NCBC was not a constitutional body. It was a statutory body. Later it was made as NCBC. Then Attorney General of India. What about Attorney General of India? Is it a constitutional body? Attorney General of India? Which article? Article 76. Who appoints Attorney General? President. So what is the duty of the Attorney General? Represents government in all courts. Again, Attorney General appears on behalf of government in all cases in Supreme Court. Attorney General appears on behalf of government in all cases in Supreme Court. That is the purpose of appointing Attorney General. Again, Attorney General has right to audience in all courts. Yes. Attorney General have right to speak in Parliament but does not have right to vote. Previous prelims question only, easy question only. Because he is representing government, he is following the government, so he can attend Lok Sabha, he can attend Rajya Sabha, but he cannot vote. But one tricky statement is asked. Attorney General is not full-time counsel of the government. Look at the word. Attorney General is not full-time counsel of the government. I mean, second statement, you will get the clarity. Attorney General is not debarred from private legal practice. Look at the wording. Attorney General is not full-time counsel of government. Statement is correct. Which means even though he is representing the government, he can practice privately also, he can have private practice also, can be continued. Second statement. Attorney General is not debarred from private legal practice. Yes. But he is representing the government, that's all. So this is about Attorney General. And what is the term of the office of Attorney General? What is the term of the Attorney General? Not fixed in the Constitution. So sometimes 6 or 65, 6 or 62, no. Something is not there. That's the reason why they can ask. What is the term of the Attorney General? Not fixed by the Constitution. But who will appoint Attorney General? Who will appoint? President. So generally if you look at, he holds the office during the pleasure of the President. Attorney General holds the office during the pleasure of the President. What does it mean? Whenever President wants, they can remove. Again, if you look at, there is something called Advocate General also. Who is Advocate General, sir? Governor of each state shall appoint a person who is qualified to be appointed as Judge of High Court as Advocate General. So similar to that of Attorney General, you have something called Advocate General. Attorney General Article 76, Advocate General Article 165. Article 165 is Advocate General. So remaining is Attorney General. Similar only. So I said something. Who appoints Attorney General? President. Who appoints Advocate General? Governor. Governor. So what is the term of the Attorney General? Not fixed. So not fixed anywhere in the Constitution. So these are constitutional bodies. So we'll see. After break we'll try to cover non-constitutional bodies and then historical background also, some acts, so that we'll get full clarity. So today what we covered? Amendment procedure, Article 368, important constitutional amendments, then official language, classical language. After that, important constitutional bodies also. See, when you're reading current affairs, whichever current affairs magazine you are looking at, any polity current affairs is there, immediately directly know, there itself know the static part related to it. So that you will come to know, if the question is asked from static part also you will be able to answer, the question is from current affairs also you will be able to answer. Okay? Thank you.